So I'd like to welcome to the Good Morning Show this morning, Mr. Andrew Forbes. A very good morning to you, Andrew. How are you?
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can indeed, yes. So you're in Turkey at the moment, aren't you?
Yes, I can hear that you've chosen some suitable music.
Absolutely. I love Turkish music. Why not? In fact, I love anything that's kind of out of the ordinary. So tell us a little bit about your adventure in Turkey.
Yes, it's all about Turkey today. It's certainly, well, it's always considered quite an exotic location, no?
Right. But you've been doing special things there, haven't you? Because you spent some time cruising when I couldn't get hold of you last week. You were actually on a yacht in the Aegean Sea, weren't you?
Yeah, which is fantastic. And it's really, I think it's fairly unique to the Turkish coast, actually, because obviously the Turkish coast and the Greek islands is a fantastic place to sail. But I think with the Greek islands, people tend to go in small flotillas, or they charter their own little yacht. But for people who don't sail but somehow want to get that, that real feeling of being in the Aegean on a yacht, they have these gullets. They're like a traditional Turkish yacht, pretty big, about 30 meters long, twin masts. And they can have the one we went on had 8 cabins, so it can have up to 16 people, lots of space. But you get the freedom of being out on the sea, and it really is amazing, this inky blue Aegean Sea, and you get to view the coast and visit little islands and secluded coast. It's pretty amazing.
Wonderful. And can you tell us a little bit about what you've done on this cruise, or what you did?
Well, I think it's a really interesting concept that the sailing company's got. It's actually been set up by a woman that spends a lot of time in Benavis, in our part of the world. And the sailing company, SCIC Sailing, what they do is they offer the chance to let the guests shape the itineraries. So there's maybe about 4 or 5, different itineraries where you can go through different islands, maybe go to a couple of Greek islands, or you go along the Turkish coast to visit historical sites. And each morning, the captain gives you a briefing, gets the map out, and he says, well, where do you want to go? So you're really in control. So we went to see a couple of historical sites. Clearly, this part of the world is just full of, because of the Roman Empire and the Byzantians, it's Roman amphitheaters and temples. So obviously we went, we couldn't not go and see some of that. So we went to see Knidos, which is a really ancient Roman Byzantine settlement. We also had some amazing experiences like late night picnics on deserted beaches, because with a yacht, of course, you just drop anchor, so you can go into these wonderful coves where there's no one, just surrounded by rocks and pine trees, and then the crew take all the food, they start a barbecue, there's lanterns. It's pretty magical, really.
Oh wow, that sounds absolutely brilliant. And how can people, if anybody was interested from here in going on the cruise, how could they get hold of the organisers of the event, or how would they find these yachts?
Yeah, so basically, you can book directly online. So Luz, who lives in Benavis, she has a website. It's SCIC Sailing. .eu, and that website has all the information, like the different fleets, the different boats, so you can sort of choose which boat you like. You can go as a couple or with a group of friends. It was also really good, there were some single people with us who were traveling alone. I think it's a great thing if you holiday alone, because of course it attracts interesting people that love travel, that want something a bit different, and all the meals and all the drinks are included, so you eat and you have cocktails together on board. So it's a very sociable experience, which I think is great if you want to travel alone. Sometimes traveling alone, it's hard to sort of meet people, or you feel slightly isolated in a restaurant. But of course, when you're on a yacht and you're just with a group, you very easily form friendships and have a good time.
Well, I was going to say, there's no escaping from anybody else, is there really? I used to work on the cruise ships, and you just can't get away from the people on the cruise ship. So I should imagine on a yacht it's even more close encounter. But so how long did the cruise last, all in all?
They go weekly, so you could book for 2 weeks if you really wanted to explore all the coast and the different islands. I mean, there's just so much. But typically they run from Saturday to Saturday, or Sunday morning to Saturday, the following Saturday morning, which is fantastic. You have your own cabin and en suite. And I was a bit apprehensive, like a lot of people. I'd never been on a trip like this. You think, well, I wonder how that's going to work. But really had a good time with the group. You had your own cabin, so you had your own privacy. You could just sit and read if you wanted to. The deck is surprisingly big because it's a big vessel. And so you've got areas where you can just lay out in the sun. There's places just to sit with lots of big overfilled cushions and just look out or listen to music. So, you really could have your time on your own. And then obviously the sociable time is sitting down and having meals together. And also, if you wanted to get involved, you could do a bit of sailing, but the crew do that.
Excellent. Excellent. And where are you now at the moment?
Well, now I'm in Istanbul, and I think it's really interesting that this destination is becoming so popular now, thanks to Turkish Airlines, because before it really was an exotic location. Not many people maybe had been here. But now Turkish Airlines are flying direct to so many cities in Europe. I mean, they're flying to our airport in Malaga direct. They're flying to Valencia, Madrid, Barcelona, Bilbao, Santiago de Compostela. So, the chances are that Istanbul is becoming a real hub now. So if we want to, from Spain, go intercontinental, typically we've got to fly to somewhere like London or Frankfurt. And now the deals mean that a lot of us are flying to Istanbul. And the people I'm meeting here never really intended to come here. They were flying to South Africa or they're flying to the Middle East. But they stop in Istanbul and they think, hey, let's have 3 days and, get to see one of the great world cities.
And how, I have to ask this, but how accessible is the price of a flight to Istanbul, say from Malaga?
Yeah, you can really shop around. Right now is high season because the temperature's not too hot. So it's funny that sort of May and June is their real high season. So this is probably the most popular time. So the flight ticket's a little bit pricier. You can also go through a travel agent. So price can vary from, say, €200 to €400. It really does depend on the season. And I think if you wanted to buy hotel accommodation as well, you could shop online or go to a travel agent and get a better deal. And also, if you are thinking of going long haul, in fact, on our flight, we were with the town hall, the Marbella town hall, actually. They were on their way to a tourist trade fair in Abu Dhabi, and then they were going to Dubai, and they were flying via Istanbul because that's the best deal. So it's interesting. You can just sort of shop around, really.
Wonderful. Well, Andrew, I have to ask this. How many countries have you actually been to?
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't kept count. Quite a few, but not enough. Not enough. I really want to do so much more. And I think I love this part of the world. I love the food. There's something about all the meze, it's a bit like tapas. I love that. The concept of having lots of little dishes that great for sharing. A lot of energy here. It's a bit like life with the volume turned up, really. I really like it.
Mm-hmm. And tell me, in the meze, what's your favourite?
Well, there is here, they do the smoked aubergine in a way that you just can't get anywhere else. I mean, meze is quite popular in Spain. It's popular in Britain. You can go a bit like tapas restaurants all around the world. You can have these dishes, but there's something about the smoked aubergine. It's just amazing. And the other one is grilled octopus. And I know in southern Spain we're having octopus occasionally, and definitely in northern Spain. But they do it. It's quite dry. They grill it and add it with a bit of oil. Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Wonderful. And I ask this to all the people that have travelled a lot, and probably a little bit of actually, it's a question that nobody to date can answer in a concrete way, but out of all the countries you've been to, do you have a favourite?
I think maybe not a country, but I really love, whenever I go to Asia, I really enjoy it because I think the service is there's something about when people make you feel very welcome. It's something about anything being subservient, or there's that gap between the people offering service and you. It's just where they smile and they make you genuinely feel welcome. And I think Asia's exceptionally good at that. Actually, I'm really impressed by how warm and friendly the people are here. We're staying in rather a swish place today. It was a bit of a last minute, and we're staying at because it has an amazing view, we're staying at the Ritz-Carlton, and they have a tower, and it's amazing views. But of course, they have that sort of service, that sort of international service that makes a trip so fantastic. Because when you're doing a city break, it can be exhausting. You know, you want to do so much, you're walking so much, you want to come back, and it's just great to be made to feel really welcome. But of course, you can get that in a small B&B, or you could get that in.
That was going to be my next question. And how does it look for people who are travelling on a budget?
Yeah, well, there are so many options now. You can basically, there's sites like Airbnb where you can shop around and find people that are offering rooms in their homes, which I think is a fantastic way to travel, because you really do immerse yourselves. Istanbul being one of the great world cities, it's a huge city. It's probably got more 5-star brands than almost any other. So if you do want to shop around and you want to stay at something like the Ritz-Carlton, you can get a good deal and you can really live it up. But also just little bed and breakfast. They have like little Ottoman-style wooden houses that do bed and breakfast. I think just towards the end of the season or the beginning of the season, that's the great time to do research, really, and just to search online and explore and to see a little place that you think looks good, look at different reviews, because now with social media it's quite easy to get a feel for what's good, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And do you think this is completely unrelated to what we're talking about, but do you think that nowadays the internet has actually revolutionized the way people travel?
Well, it's really interesting. I think it's gone both ways. It's allowed us all to be independent, buy our airline tickets separately, buy our hotel or B&B separately, plan our excursions or buy tickets in advance. We can do all of that ourselves. We don't need a travel agent. And yet it's gone full circle, because now a lot of travellers really want that personalised service. They don't want the stress of thinking, how can I get the best deal? How can I sort out the connection? And so they're starting to go back to travel agents. And I know on the coast, there's some really successful travel agents simply because they have access to tickets that the airlines don't offer to us directly on the internet. They have deals with the hotels so they can bundle it together. So I really think it's worth considering both. Sometimes short haul is more attractive, isn't it, doing it ourselves, just shopping around. But if you're going mid-haul or long-haul or intercontinental, I think the travel agent, has a lot to offer. And I think they've come back into their own again, really.
Wonderful. Well, Andrew, I can only thank you very, very much for being on the Good Morning Show with me this morning. And I hope that you'll come back and talk about another country at some point.
Love to. I mean, it's just fantastic, isn't it? I think there's something about travel. It makes us feel more alive. You're no longer on autopilot, because even the most familiar thing at home is unfamiliar when you're abroad. And even if you just travel just within a country, things, it just wakens you up a bit, no?
Absolutely. Well, I'm one of life's great travellers. In fact, I call myself the gypsy because I've been travelling since 1986 and I haven't stopped yet. So, I fully understand what you mean and where you're coming from. Now, is it true to say, I think it's true to say, that Tarkan was the winner of the Eurovision Song Contest for Turkey way back, how many years ago now? I think it was back in the 90s, wasn't it?
I don't know. We were having a bit of Eurovision trivia, and I wasn't doing very well the other night on the boat. So.
Well, he did, but I couldn't find the original, so we're going to go with the Holly Valance version, which was translated into English. But the song basically is... And we're on that note. Andrew, have a fantastic day. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you. Speak to you soon. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.